everyone, to the second episode of the PlainGains podcast. Today, we have a special guest, GDaniels. I'm sure a lot of you know who she is, but she is a bikini competitor, aspiring pro bikini competitor, and a person that I went to school with. Okay, so Georgia, I have a scene to set for you just so you can introduce yourself. So let's pretend that we are in a coffee shop that has an unbelievably long line, and someone is standing next to you waiting to get their coffee and decides to strike up a chat with you and asks you what you do for a living. How are you going to answer that question?
I always tell everybody I'm just a coach.
Okay.
I hate responding that I do social media. I think that's so I hate when people say that. So I just say I'm a fitness coach. It's usually pretty obvious.
Hmm.
Usually I have my arms out and I say I prep people for shows and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like if I were just chatting, that's how I respond.
I feel like a
Coach.
common question you might get is, how did you get your delts so big? Is that a question you get often when you're wearing a
Yeah.
tank top?
Very genetic. Triceps and shoulders, I feel like first my dad's is massive as well. Like that's just very genetic. I wish
Valid.
a better response, but and then since day one, like I used to train with my dad in high school. I was like 16 years old. And did we work legs ever? No, but I did triceps every single day of the week. So I have been doing triceps like since day one, and now it's been like 8 years. I've been training a long time. So
Yeah.
it is, yeah, genetics and wanting them to be massive for a really long time.
That's awesome. So you've been training for a long time. Can you tell me a little bit about your journey with training and how you got into bodybuilding and deciding to create a social media account?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely not to be like luck, but life is so funny. And I've started lifting just for sports and stuff like that. And I came to school not really necessarily thinking it would be something I took really seriously, but when you're used to being competitive, tend to find that outlet somewhere else. So
Mm.
I started seriously lifting. And then I hired a coach and I wasn't sure really where I was going to take it. Honestly, I was talking with some other friends and I thought I was going to power lift, but I hired a coach just because I knew nothing about nutrition. Like I was going
Mm.
like all in lifting and I was like, I knew the puzzle piece missing was not eating right, And so
Yeah.
it was my second year of school and I was like, okay, I need to be eating protein, but I didn't really know anything. So I hired a coach from someone I saw on Instagram that I knew a lot about nutrition. And she literally was like, you know what? You have a really good shape to bodybuild. And I was like, you know what? Whatever you say. Uh,
Yeah.
and so from there, I just started growing and I did like a really big growing phase and then did my first show and it was during COVID. So it really like made me get really, really serious really fast.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's where we went from there to start bodybuilding.
That's crazy. So is it the same coach that you still have now?
No, so I did recently switch coaches. So
Okay.
um I started this prep with a new coach, which was a very, very hard decision for me for sure, because I'd done 6 shows with her.
Right.
And she's an absolutely amazing person, but same like first there's a time difference and it's just a lot of factors, but um having somebody that like in a way scares me, like
Hmm.
not that my new coach Brandon scares me, but the coaching company I'm with, the owner is my coach now. And so um yeah, I'm very confident with my decision, glad that I did do that, but I've been with him since the beginning of this prep. So yeah, like
That's cool.
it's now.
So
Yeah, it's
that's pretty interesting. I know a lot of coaches have really different training philosophies. So it'd be interesting to hear like what are some differences that you've noticed with the two different coaches? What did you like about both? I'm sure obviously both are going to be great, but it's really the minute differences. Do you have any preferences between different training styles or stuff like
it's
that?
totally preference, like you said, like what kind of coach you need. And I say this a lot, but I think if I were to start with a serious coach like I have now when I first started bodybuilding, I probably wouldn't have stayed with it, which is a
Hmm.
weird thing to say, but it's easy to, until you've done a show, to know that like what you're working for.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm just a person that like I didn't really know if I wanted to bodybuild. Like I was 19. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know it was going to be something I really would like to do. And so I think if I had a coach that was like a hard ass, I think I wouldn't first I yeah, I wouldn't have liked it as much. And I think like her training philosophy is very, very different. Like she definitely cares more about the relationship with the client and like the mental side and being a friend, which is great and
Mhm.
amazing. But I needed somebody that was gonna tell me like, okay, you're not ready. You look terrible. And he wasn't gonna fluff it. And
Yeah,
so also I was really iffy at the beginning about wanting a male coach. Like I wanted a female coach. And
that's
now
true, yeah.
I'm ready. Like I wanted a coach that was nearby. I see him pretty often because they do go to Houston a lot. But
Mhm.
um yeah, he's very like serious and like tells it to me straight, which I really did need. Um,
Mhm.
Mainly for this next show, like I do truly believe this is the pro card season,
Let's
and
go.
I needed somebody that was like actually going to be like, okay, we're not stepping on stage because you're not ready,
Yeah.
or push me to death, which is what it kind of takes. So I was willing to give what it took, but I just needed somebody that was going to not fluff anything and she is still a friend of mine, but it's
Mhm.
sometimes a line between coach and friend is hard. And once you've crossed it, once you start prep, sometimes it's hard to put up that wall and be just a coach again because you're not going to like your coach when
Mhm.
you're on prep. You're not going to. And so
Yeah.
I needed somebody that very strictly had, that line of when I'm a coach, I am your coach and I'm going to do what it takes for you to win. So yeah.
Those are some really good points. I think your point about different coaching styles with having one person that might be a hard ass, whereas another person might be a little bit softer, appeal to more the emotional side, is really useful for a lot of people that are particularly not interested in competing per se, or maybe they're getting into the gym and they don't know what to do. I see a lot of those people, especially in commercial gyms, where they sign up for their first ever training session and the personal trainer absolutely annihilates them. They do like jump squats and like everything to failure, and then they never come back to the gym anymore, and that just sucks. So I think definitely looking for a coach that suits your needs better is something that a lot of people could probably do slightly better.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. um
Yeah. And I told
so
him. And I just yeah, it was just one of those things where it was just like, I needed somebody that was going to the training style and everything is just completely different, and
yeah,
like you said, it's like it's trial and error, and you don't know until speaking with your coach,
yeah,
a coach, whether or not they're the coach for you, so but at the same time, there was a balance. I mean, I was there with her for 3 years, so
right,
it got to the point where I was like, "Okay, I just need something different."
yeah. No, that makes sense, and I mean clearly it's working. I do want to know, what was your stage weight for your last show?
130.
130. And what do you think your stage weight's going to be for this upcoming one?
I definitely have more size on me. We're thinking under 130, probably 128.
Okay, but okay, leaner but bigger.
But I'm bigger.
You're
So
way bigger.
I'm intrigued myself. It's definitely the heaviest I've ever been this far out, but I don't
Yeah.
think I'm not ready. Like I feel like I'm at a good body fat for how many weeks out I am. So
Hmm.
it's every season. It's different challenges come with it, and like I look different every single show, and I think
Hmm.
some better than others, and I think last season, although I had more mass, like I've done 3 seasons. My last 2 seasons, I've both stepped on stage about 130.
Hmm.
And I had more size every show. And when you have more size, sometimes having less body fat is needed, so it's not making you look a little fluffy. So I
Right.
should have gotten leaner last show to be able to see the definition I wanted. So this season, because I have more size, sometimes it's going to take you getting
Yeah.
a little bit more lean to kind of see the development too that I'm wanting to see.
That's interesting. So you're, I think, 14 weeks out. Is that right? Okay.
14 in like 2 days, 3 days.
Okay. So then, and I think your rate weight was what right now, like 150 something?
Yeah. So I think my new low yesterday is 151.
151? Okay.
Mhm.
That's nuts, dude. Because I remember when you were at school with me, like we were relatively similar size. Maybe I had you on a little bit, but now I think you're blowing me out of the water. I finished my bulk at 157, and I was reasonably fluffy at that point. So,
I was
but
fluffy, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, no,
I think
we were both fluffy.
I think we ended
Yeah.
164, I think.
Okay. 164. Yeah, I can't even imagine touching 160. That's crazy.
I did feel big, but
Yeah.
I did had extra body fat on me though. Like I could have stayed a little bit tighter, but
Yeah.
um sometimes it's off season. You need some time to give yourself a little leeway, mainly when you have
Yeah.
your prep.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'm down to 143 this morning, so pretty fast. It's been 6 weeks for me now, so I'm going in a little bit fast, but I'm obviously not going to get as lean as you are going to be. So you got it a little bit worse than I do.
Well, I got a lot to drop for sure.
Yeah.
He seems confident that we're gonna get there,
Oh
so
yeah, for sure. You're going
I
to be
know
there.
it will, but it's easier to just not think about the end weight, which is why
Yeah.
I don't tell a lot of my clients what I want their stage weight to be, because sometimes
Yeah.
it's hard to have to like think about that, but really like I know we can get down to it. It's just one day at a
Yeah.
time.
I also finding like figuring out a stage weight, I think or even just like an end of cut weight for a lot of people is complicated just because people hold a lot of different amounts of glycogen and water and fiber and all of these different things. So you may think like, oh yeah, I look like I'm roughly, I don't know, like 23% body fat, and you can do like the math calculation, figure out how many pounds it would be to like get to 5% or whatever for a guy. But realistically you're probably going to be losing more weight than that, and the actual amount is not obvious. So I think you're right, just going week by week and looking at the physique picture is a pretty good way to go.
I think it's just Brandon's very seasoned. He looks like
Yeah.
he knows. I'm fully confident he's probably right with my what my stage weight's gonna be. So
Yeah.
but yeah, some weeks, I mean, I lost 3 pounds last week. I don't, it's just
Yeah, I'm sure you have the same. Some weeks it's like you lose nothing, and then the next week it's like 4 pounds and you're like, what was happening?
I was
Yeah.
so plateaued for a little bit too, and then I dropped like
Yeah.
9 pounds in 2 weeks. It was
Wow. Yeah.
but a lot of it was stress and just like cortisol related, I believe. So,
Definitely, especially
um,
with women periods and stuff too. So
oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So what does a normal day of eating look like for you on prep right now? How many calories you got, if you're comfortable talking about
I
that?
don't know if y'all they want to know. The thing is, like, yeah, this is the lowest I've eaten this far out. So that's why I'm like, this season, I'm like, oh, like
We're pushing it.
my first show, peak, like not peak week, but like 2 weeks out, let's say, is what I'm
Yeah.
eating right now at 14 weeks out. And so right now we're like completely natural. We're not taking anything to like, I'm not natural, obviously, but I'm not taking anything right now to make me lose body fat faster. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
I'm sitting at a place where I'm eating super little and trying to push, but my body just wasn't responding. And sometimes that takes pushing harder.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah. No, I'm sure your
want
coach
to know how
knows.
little I'm
Yeah.
eating, but it's definitely like too low, too low.
Yeah.
Where
No,
I'm
I know what you mean. Sometimes it takes that, and honestly, I feel like maybe this doesn't apply to you, but a lot of times starting out your diet with lower calories is a little bit easier when you're carrying a little bit more fat, just because you have more fat to use as energy, and you might not be quite as hungry as you are when you're like completely diced and eating that much. So it's nice to go really low calories at first, steep deficit, and kind of eat your way into the show. I know a lot of evidence-based coaches like doing that, where you get really shredded and you're like maybe 3 or 4 weeks out, and now you start like increasing or reversing up until your show so you can be a little bit more full and stuff like that. So I'm sure maybe that might be your coach's plan,
oh
or
yeah,
we're
for
just playing
sure.
it by ear.
We're always about being ready early.
Yeah.
And being able to reverse into the show is so yeah, so powerful. I
Yeah.
can imagine us really even having a refeed until we get like that we still we get to the
Yeah.
end, to be honest.
Right.
But I think that is going to be the end goal is that we get like super lean, we're super ready. And then that way we can look a little bit more full when we get on stage.
Hmm.
So I think that's hopefully the end goal.
Do you know what show you're doing yet, or is it kind of undecided based on how you look?
So yes and no. Like I picked some shows that I would prefer to, and that's what we're aiming around.
Yeah.
I'm already qualified to do a national show, so I don't need to do an amateur show to start. I would prefer to, and he would too. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking August 12th would be the amateur show, but I'm doing it in Pennsylvania. It's NPC Muscle
Okay.
in Lancaster. It's a huge amateur show from what I've seen like in past seasons.
Yeah.
Um, they do have a Virginia show on the same day. So if I'm, it just depends. I kind of would rather compete against more people this season. So
Right.
yeah, I'll be stepping on stage. August 12th is the goal.
Okay.
Then our second show would be a national show. September 2nd weekend is North Americans, and it's also in PA.
It's in
Um,
PA. All right.
mhm,
Yeah, if you do any Virginia shows, you gotta let me know. I know a lot of them are in Richmond, and I'm moving to Richmond next, or I guess this summer. So
mhm,
it's easy for me to head out there to support you,
yeah.
if you're doing any shows there.
Yeah, Jay Cutler is the same day, but you get to a point where you just kind of want to be against different people.
Yeah.
Done 4 or 5 Virginia shows, and so not I don't know. I just wanted to switch it up.
No, I know what you mean. Also, different people, different chances of winning. You know, you never know. You might be blowing everyone in Pennsylvania out of the water, but there's some freak in Virginia. You never know. So it's
Yeah,
cool to change it
as
up.
an amateur show, it's less about like winning the show and more just getting more feedback on my shape and getting on there again. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. And the Jay Cutler, like the lighting was really bad last year, to be honest. So,
Okay. Valid. Yeah.
like, I would like better stage shots too. So, I'll be in Northern Virginia. So, to be honest, the time, like the drive, is going to be the same. If
Yeah. True.
yeah,
Okay. Are you living in Arlington then?
we will starting in July. Yeah,
Okay. Cool. So are you going to train at DMV Iron?
I want to. I went and trained there last week,
Yeah.
and it's an amazing gym.
Yeah.
So people are really nice and really serious. It's hard to go to a serious gym and people are like my age, uh,
Right.
like my bodybuilding gym in Virginia Beach. Not to be like everyone's old, but they're definitely serious bodybuilders. Like been doing it for 10 plus years. Uh,
Yeah.
in North Virginia, it's got a young demographic, like
For
serious
sure.
years, but like also I feel like you can meet more friends because I'm more your age.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I noticed at least at the shop, most of the people are probably ages like 18 to 30 or something like that.
Mhm.
And obviously there's some outliers, but I'd say majority's there.
I used to shop too, so I'm probably gonna like shop around and go around.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do. I love all the gyms up in Northern Virginia. It's gonna be such a treat to be able to be in like some good
Yeah.
gyms.
I'm itching to get back home so I can train at the shop again because the AFC's not cutting it. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I'm in Charlottesville right now, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah, we should catch a workout. I'm leaving on Sunday, so one of the days tomorrow or Saturday we can
Yeah,
go somewhere.
no, that's after. I'm here probably until next week,
Okay.
but then yeah,
Yeah,
I,
we should catch like Iron Will or something like that on either tomorrow or Saturday.
we could train tomorrow.
All right, yeah, sure. I don't have a car, so I'll have to get there somehow, but
I can pick you up,
okay, yeah, that works.
but I think I've pushed tomorrow. No, I've pushed Saturday. I think I've legs tomorrow.
Okay. I had quads and glutes today, so I have hamstrings and back tomorrow, so close enough.
Figure it out, even if you come at the same time.
Yeah, true. All right. So I think that's a pretty good segue into our next topic about your coaching. So you've recently, I guess semi recently, it's probably been a decent amount of time now, started coaching a bunch. I think you're still only coaching women, right?
Not purposefully. So once I switched to Hustle Harder, I do take male clients as
Okay.
well. Um, and so I coach like male friends and things like that. But
Right.
so yeah, I'm doing both now. Mostly female just because of my like Instagram demographic.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I do both now, which is great.
So that's great. I seen your Instagram. A lot of your clients are making absolutely ridiculous progress. So congratulations with that. And I wanted to hear your thoughts on like some of the biggest things that have made impacts on your clients' lives, whether that be towards their goals of growing muscle or improving their mental health or whatever improvements you've made to their lives.
Yeah. It's crazy how many different goals you get as a coach. I didn't expect it. Like I have people who we're preparing for a wedding. I have people who are postpartum. I have people who are like, you know, heavy weight loss, weight gain,
Yeah.
and literally everything. People that are prepping for shows. So it's crazy like how many different mindsets you get and it makes it such a fun job.
Hmm.
Um when you have so many different goals. I love it. So I do lifestyle and I do prep. And so I do have a couple girls on prep right now. Very, very excited to see them step on stage. But I think that's the main kind of what we were talking about with like the style of coaching people do. I think a
Hmm.
lot of coaches like they kind of get in their head the style of coach they are, and
Yeah.
that's who they are. Um, I feel like the coach you need to be depends on the client. And
Hmm.
so I've kind of learned as I learn about my clients, like the coaching style that they need, and I do think that's made a huge impact. Like
Hmm.
some people do just need a coach that's keeping them accountable to eat their protein and actually be consistent.
Hmm.
Versus some people need a hard ass and like are going to be on them because they're stepping on stage in like 4 months. And
Yeah.
so being able to kind of listen to what the client's goals and also kind of read between the lines of what they actually want
Yeah.
has helped a lot. But Also just being under people who are super knowledgeable. Like I could not have done this on my own and learned as much. I did in-person coaching before, but
Mhm.
like I said, like with nutrition and bodybuilding, there's a lot of research that's you're not gonna find on the internet.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and it comes with just like always trying to educate yourself.
Mhm.
So being under people who are super, super educated has made the largest impact in like learning. I think a lot
Mhm.
of people that are coaches kind of get a NASM certification and just like
Yeah.
one size fits all in their coaching style. So I think those two things together, like really trying to educate myself and when new problems come up, like finding new solutions.
Mhm.
Every person's different, every goal is different. So yeah, I think in the sense of like generic, I do think that like just seeing each person as an individual and like seeing what they need to kind of get
Mhm.
to their end goal has been what's most important. Anybody can lose weight and gain weight. Like obviously it's like calorie deficit, calorie surplus, but there's so many other habits and goals that go into getting a client to where they want to be, and that accountability and having somebody that's kind of in their corner makes a huge difference.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's some really great points there. Especially for me coming from an engineering degree, I kind of look at coaching different people kind of like engineering. One of the number one rules that you're taught when you go through engineering school is that your client never knows what their problem actually is. And so the first thing that you need to do is try and interpret what their goals are and what they are saying their problem is and figure out or define what their problem actually is. Like someone might say that they want to gain as much muscle and lose as much fat as possible before their wedding or whatever. And you need to figure out what that means and interpret what a goal should be, whether it should be they're a little bit too fat for their liking now and you need to cut first and then bulk later, or maybe they're already pretty lean and they would just look better with more muscle mass. So really taking in the client's goals into consideration and applying them using different scientific principles, I think is the way to go. So this
Yeah.
is some really good points.
For sure. And
Yeah.
they're so interesting. But like with having a coach too, that's the whole point is that you're deciding to let somebody else decide your short-term goals because they come to me with a long-term goal.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to decide for yourself like the small phases you need to get there. And so being
Yeah.
able to, like let go of the reins and not have to stress and wonder what you need to do to get there. So amazing. It's life-changing to have somebody
Hmm.
be like, okay, we're going to cut for the summer. We're going
Yeah.
to this many weeks. We're going to get you confident in your body. And then
Hmm.
we're going to reverse end of the summer. We're going to do a full growing phase. Like there's so many small phases and steps that people don't think about, mainly with their training style and their eating style. And like, there's so many small phases you have to go through to kind of get to that long-term goal. And I think
Absolutely.
these super, super long-term goals and it gets overwhelming
Hmm.
very much
Yeah,
so.
honestly, that's a really great point. I think most of the time when you're a coach, someone's not coming to you with a bunch of short-term goals. They're not like, I want to bench 225 in 2 weeks or whatever. It's like I want to bench 225. So you're like, okay, um, we're gonna bench 225 this year. Let's say you have like 6 or 7 months. I need to figure out what small milestones that we can accomplish each month so you stay motivated towards your goal and that you're making significant progress towards whatever you wanted to do. So that's a really good point.
But and also just like I do get obviously get a lot of bodybuilders too that just want a training structure and there's a lot that you really can't see in the sense of like the habits of a bodybuilder.
Hmm.
And to be honest, they're super, super healthy habits, but being able to like have somebody make sure you're staying on top of water, your steps, your fiber, like getting
Hmm.
vegetables in. Before I had a coach, I don't even think I ever ate vegetables. Like
Yeah, I remember like last I was talking to you, you were like, yeah, I eat like this. I was like, damn, that's not a lot of vegetables.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure it's different now.
But yeah, so it's just like having somebody that's creating healthy habits, that's what's number one. And I think like those small lifestyle changes and working on yourself just makes you feel because number one, it's about being confident in your body and
Hmm.
getting to the goal that you think is your end goal. That's number one. But being able to enjoy the journey is very, very
Hmm.
important. And so I think I get a lot of clients that um, have these large goals and they don't think they're going to be happy until they reach them. And
Yeah,
having somebody that's like, okay, because I do not let my clients like talk down about themselves in their check-in. So I
good.
go, okay, stop that one.
Yeah.
And because you're never going to be happy even if you hit, if your goal is to rep 225, even once you get it, you're gonna have another goal.
Yeah, it's gonna be rep 235 or whatever.
Yeah. No, so it's like mainly physical. When you have these physical goals, you're never in your head gonna reach them.
Yeah.
And so you're imposter syndrome with prep too. You're never gonna feel ready. And
Yeah.
so being able to have somebody be like, okay, that's where the mental side comes in. It's like, no, you are exactly where you need to be. Um,
Mhm.
and I promise you, like I'm giving you a plan that's going to get you to where you want to be, and this is where you need to be in this very moment.
Yeah.
It's just so it relieves a lot of stress, at least for me too. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like Christian Guzman's logo or whatever it is, like the proud but never satisfied quote. Just being proud of where you are and how far you've come, but always continue striving to be better in whatever aspect you're looking to be better at. So,
100%, 100%.
yeah,
So just continuing to work and having somebody that's encouraged you to work harder, but yeah, you gotta work through it,
yeah,
through it. So, and you'll never enjoy bodybuilding if you don't enjoy like the prep process because it's one
yeah,
day and it's a terrible day. Show
yeah,
day, it's like 12 hours. It's annoying. It's tiring. So if you don't enjoy the actual prep, you're not going to enjoy it. So same thing with like lifestyle.
yeah.
You
And
need
it's
to
like,
enjoy your body right now.
yeah, it's like the Ronnie Coleman saying. It's like everyone want to be a bodybuilder, but no one wants to lift heavy ass weight. But in reality, it's like everyone wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one wants to get shredded and actually do all the stuff you need to do to step on stage.
Yeah. No one wants to drink a gallon of water every day. That's
I tell you that I don't want to do that stuff.
unfortunate.
That sucks.
Yeah. But I don't know. It works for some people. It doesn't work for others. And that's the whole thing with a coach as well. Like being able to be 1% better every day. I say that a lot, but
Hmm.
like a little bit better every day means you're getting towards your goals. And whether or not that's drinking more water today, whether or not that's actually taking a walk and getting your steps in that day, like
Hmm.
you're creating habits that is the habits of the person you want to be.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week.
Hmm.
So as long as your habits are changing and you're taking steps, small steps, even towards that goal, you're eventually going to get there. But it's not
Yeah.
something that's going to like happen immediately.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So I want to take this opportunity to kind of segue into a little. We talked a lot about goals and like I guess nutrition. I kind of want to hear about maybe your training, kind of what it's like, and maybe what some of your clients' trainings are like what type of exercises, splits, reps, all that sort of stuff. What are you doing right now?
For me, very bodybuilder. Like he's a very interesting trainer because he's like an open bodybuilder. So,
Hmm.
his training is definitely very like OG in my mind, which is
Hmm.
funny because a lot of my clients, I don't train them like that because yeah, I don't train them like that. This is my first time training like this.
Hmm.
And so like I do incline barbell press, like things that I haven't done in a while, like seated military press with a barbell, like a lot of
Hmm.
barbell work and like back to like the roots, uh,
Yeah.
which I'm really liking. Like it's a good way to switch it up. I
Yeah.
like very isolated movements, and it just also depends on the phase you're in, for
Right.
sure. But yeah, so I feel like I do like 5 days a week right now,
Hmm.
and so my split is more like kind of push pull legs, and then I'll do like an upper lower pretty much.
Okay. Classic split.
So very, very classic. And I do a lot of my clients that way too. I definitely yeah, I love like good push pull legs. So it just depends obviously what their division is. If they're bikini girl, or just want like in general growth, that's a good split. Like doing,
Yeah.
a push and a pull, two lower bodies. You can do like a more quad focus, more hamstring focus, and then my full upper at the end tends to be a more like catch up of what they want to grow. So if
Hmm.
they want to grow their shoulders a little bit more, we need to get more of a taper. Like that full upper is more of a catch up day rather than a generic like full upper body.
Got
So it's
it.
a way to kind of get in what they're wanting to grow, or where they need to fix to get on stage or
Yeah.
so I really do like that. That way it's not like because if you have that split where it's like a shoulder day, a chest day, like although great being able to have kind of a day where you can work some muscle groups twice a week, I really like. So I love that full upper at the end. But um also it helps with recovery a lot too to kind of split it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of depends. I love doing a simple push pull legs, but I do have a lot of clients doing like a normal shoulder day. And then, you know, I love adding delts at the end of a good quad day.
Yeah. Delts are important for bikinis. So.
Yeah. So yeah, there's not like one solution in the sense of my clients, but I'm very, very big on like 5 day splits.
Hmm.
Um, I don't I feel like if you're pushing hard enough, you don't really necessarily like they're recovering pretty well to not have to do um like I don't know. A lot of my clients when I put them on 6, they're not recovering. So
Yeah.
I like 5, pretty generic for um if they want to go a 6 day, they ab day.
Yeah.
I have some clients obviously they do 4 if that's more maintainable. I would say if
Right.
they're really wanting to push and grow, I do 5 though. Less than that is more depending on like their own consistency and busyness in their lifestyle. I
Yeah.
might not want to do more just from a recovery standpoint.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, especially if you have days that are kind of more exercises in general. Like for me, I train 6 days a week, but my number of exercises per session is relatively low. For example, on my quads and glutes day, I only have 3 exercises. So it's not like it takes me a super long time. So recovery is not really an issue. But I just prefer splitting up chests, back, and legs. I don't like training chest and back on the same day.
Mhm.
Just I don't know, it's back is too fatiguing, and then if I do chest first, then I'm like, my chest hurts on the pad of the row or whatever. Yeah, so I like 6 days, but 5 days and 4 days, even 3 days for clients that have like work and stuff like that where they can't um, go more often, it's completely fine. They're going to be making great progress regardless.
Yeah,
So
literally, because at that point, it's about consistency, but so
yeah.
there's not really one solution, like, they're all it kinda just depends on what they're needing. Obviously, rep ranges changes as well, depending on what their goals are short term, but, um, yeah, I don't prefer, like, doing 6-day weeks,
Hmm.
unless I do, like, an active rest day, but that's just because of the type of clients I get.
Yeah.
Um, the biggest thing for my clients to grow, a lot of them are not pushing hard enough versus you can get in
Got it.
there, do 3 exercises, and you
Oh
kill
yeah,
yourself. A lot of
I'm
my
dead.
they kind of need a little bit higher volume to be able to get the intensity we want out of that exercise
Yeah.
workout. Even me, I do most of my lifts, I think, are 5 or 6. I'm
Hmm.
in there a long time for that. So I try to keep in mind how long they're in the gym too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, no, that's good. So, I think you're absolutely spot on with the 5 days a week training for most people is probably pretty good. But honestly, whatever is the number of days that they're going to be most consistent with, then that's pretty
yeah,
much what you should stick with.
literally. And so not a lot of people that work like full-time jobs can they enjoy to have those 2 days off.
Yeah.
And so even sometimes some of my wellness girls, I backed them down from 5 to 4 for a little bit with
Hmm.
having that extra leg volume. They honestly just need to recover to be able to
Yeah.
grow. And so same thing. Like sometimes I even like I have some clients that come in with 6 and I'm like, we're gonna do 5, and then we're backing down to 4. Because it's
Yeah.
like your body actually just needs to recover. Like you're pushing hard enough, but we need to make sure we're getting ample recovery time. So and then we taper back up to 5, you know? So it's just
Yeah.
a it's so fun. It's just a little everything's
Yeah.
a problem solving mystery, you know?
No, honestly, like I think a lot of people come to me and I'm sure come to you training and they're like, "Yeah, I'm training 6 days a week and I'm doing all the right things, but I'm not making progress." And then you take a look at how hard they're training and it's just like, "Wow, are you even doing anything?" So, what are some strategies you use to help people kind of learn how to train hard, or how do you kind of assess whether the person is training hard enough when they come to you in general?
Yeah. I have a lot of them send me videos, and I'm pretty straight up if I'm like, okay, you could have done more, you know, but we track our working weights. And I think it almost, a lot of people don't track their weights.
Mhm.
And until they consistently track their weights and every single week are
Yeah.
showing up a little bit more, I feel like it kind of solves itself, to be honest. Like if I
Mhm.
have a client that's not used to pushing really hard and I'm like, I want every week you going up, may it be by 1 rep, may it be
Mhm.
by 2.5 pounds, I want us every single week.
Yeah.
Eventually they finally learn what failure is because it's
Yeah.
like every week they're really striving to like bring their best. And then
Mhm.
they every single week they're like, I don't know how I was training before, but I wasn't training hard enough, you know? And it's something they have to want.
Mhm.
I'm very big for my clients on like, I can't do the work for you. You know, if
Right.
you want to grow, I fully put out how we need to train and what intensity level the RPE we want to be at.
Yeah.
And so like how many reps should be left, you know? And so
Yeah.
we do set a lot of sets till failure. And so it's like,
Mhm.
if you could have done more and you didn't fail, it's like, do the set again. And if
Yeah.
they start to get to the point where it's like they don't want to have to do 6 sets to actually get those 3 working sets in, and then they actually starting at a heavy enough weight, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people, it's not necessarily that they're not like they don't know how hard they need to push themselves, but it's not being confident enough that they're not going to fail. So
Mhm.
every single week, once they start tracking weights, they go up a little bit more, have a little bit more confidence in themselves. They tend to kind of get better at that intensity and
Hmm.
they can start to get excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not something that I can necessarily do for them, and they have to want to push heavier.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So, but at the same time, all of my clients are like freaking killing it. And so I think once you start kind of, I have a Discord with all of them, and once they see each other and they see how hard the other people are working, and I think they're wanting to be a part of a community. I mean, I'm with a company that's called Hustle Harder, you know,
Yeah, of
so
course.
it's a community of people that do want to bring their best and want to push harder.
Hmm.
And so I think I really do bring those type of girls. So
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think you have a pretty similar approach to me with respect to getting people to train harder. At least for me, I usually like to have the clients send me some videos. I'll take an assessment on how many reps in reserve or what their RPE is for that set. And if it's just egregiously low, which a lot of times it is, I'm going to be like, all right, you need to increase by like 30 pounds or whatever. But I do have a pretty unique strategy that I like to use in people that are less familiar with training. Maybe they're only first or second year training and they've never really had somebody in person tell them like keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until you just can't do a rep. If you pick exercises that are less fatiguing, usually those end up being that are ones that are hardest when your muscle is shortened, and maybe ones that are really stable, something like a leg extension or like a preacher curl or a chest fly machine or something like that. And having these people go all the way until they can't move anymore, but do like ridiculously low number of sets, like one maybe or two. They get to the point where like if they're doing a preacher curl, they can't get the full rep anymore. I have them do some partial reps to as much as they can before they can't move anymore, and they don't get super sore because the exercise is more shortened position bias, and it's not that like fatiguing in general. But then it teaches them how hard they need to be going or what your muscle is going to feel like when you're getting close to failure. So then when we do step into more maybe more hypertrophic exercises that are more fatiguing, something like squatting patterns or whatever it may be, they're more easily able to access the mental capacity to train closer to failure.
yeah.
So that could be something you could try on in new clients if you're if you are
Oh, yeah,
interested.
for sure. Because that's true. It's just a lot of people haven't had to.
Yeah.
Um, so, and definitely as well, though, yeah, including exercises that are also more machine based. I think a lot of my clients don't have the confidence that they're not going to fail.
Hmm.
So, same thing, like making small substitutions where you're more stationary helps a ton.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so segueing on here because it is finals time, so I think this will be something pretty interesting. You don't have finals anymore, so lucky you. Well, I don't either, but um, for all the people out there that do have finals or work or like stressful projects or whatever around this time, what are some strategies that you like to use for yourself or tell your clients to use for maybe studying habits or balancing work, life, and training?
Yeah, because I have tons of clients doing finals right now, actually, like
Yeah,
so many. And I also prepped during finals last year
yeah,
as
I
well.
remember that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not in school and prepping anymore. I don't know how I did that, but um, yeah, definitely. I think this is one thing. First, you know, they're not prepping. I was. I'm a
Right.
pretty, not to say I'm a lenient coach, but I think having the mindset first that your training is supposed to be something that's taking you away from this stress.
Mhm.
So I encourage them to remember why they train, and it's something that they enjoy, and it's a mental time to take a break. I think a
Mhm.
lot of people they get so stressed, and they're like, I can't take time for myself to go train right now, and so
Mhm.
they get in a cycle that they feel bad they didn't train and da 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 da. So first, I try to push that like this is we do this to help you take a mental break in the sense of training.
Mhm.
However, I do have some clients, finals are 1 or 2 weeks. It's like a vacation. Like if you
Yeah.
train 1 or 2 days less this week because you're super stressed, I would rather me like give them the okay that like, hey, this week, like we're not gonna do the full upper day. We're gonna do, 2 legs, two upper body. We're gonna back it down, change training this way.
Mhm.
Um, I'd rather do that and them feel mentally like, okay, my coach said it's okay for me to take an extra day off than them to feel so bad that they have to take a day off.
Mhm.
So honestly, I do encourage them. I ask them like, "What do you think your mental capacity is this week?"
Mhm.
Um, and I keep that in mind because some of my clients have 2 exams this week, 2 exams next week. They want to keep going as normal. Some of
Yeah.
my clients have 6 in 1 week, and it's one hell week, and then they can go back to normal.
Yeah.
So I take in a little bit of both. Like some people are like, I need to lift like normal to feel like
Hmm.
normal. And then some people lifting overwhelms them during
Yeah.
exam. And so I keep that in mind. Same with nutrition. Like I gave some of my clients extra off meals and stuff this week because I don't want like their fitness journey to be something that they think is going to like make or break if they take 1 week off, like 1 week off, you know? And so
Hmm.
I kind of listen to them and listen to their needs. I have clients that don't prep and like they don't get that luxury, but in the sense of lifestyle, like taking one extra off meal to at the end of finals week because like they deserve it.
Yeah.
I'd rather them do that than them feel like almost burdened and overwhelmed by their own goals. And I don't want to burn them out because finals week already is burning you out. And
Hmm.
so you're fit, like, having to eat healthy, it's to make you feel confident. And I don't want them to be burnt out by
Yeah.
their eating habits. So I have a bunch of different ways that I've gone through it. Some of my clients, I gave them, they stay within your calorie range and just hit your protein, like so
Hmm.
less stress about the other macros. Some of my clients, I just gave them one extra off meal. It really just completely depends on like the type of person they are.
Yeah.
Um, Now, in the sense of getting through it, on if you just want to keep 100% to plan,
Hmm.
I just encourage my clients to get like meals that are more easier.
Hmm.
I would eat like pre-made chicken and things like that during finals week, or like tuna packets. Like it's definitely not like a luxury way of eating, but as a person
Hmm.
for me that it stressed me out to go off plan, I just gave them like easy meals that I found made it super, super easy for me to hit my macros.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone's so different. That's what's crazy about coaching. It's like some people can't do that. So
Yeah, no, of course. I like to use a couple of different strategies for those clients that are not ultra serious and it's not a huge deal. Planning the deload week on your finals week is an excellent strategy because if you need to take the week off, like all right, whatever, you're deloading anyway, who cares? And even if you do train during your deload week, your workouts are going to be shorter, they're going to be easier, and it's not going to be as mentally draining. And also for the people that really have to focus hard on school, the science kind of shows if you remain relatively active, you're not really going to lose any muscle in like a 2 week time period. Like I'm going to Europe in June and I'm not going to train for 2 weeks when I'm there. Am I going to lose any muscle? Probably not. As long as you're eating enough protein or relatively enough, which by the way is probably about zero point 0.8 grams per pound at a minimum, you're probably not going to lose any muscle. So I'm not super concerned there. And in terms of the people that are prepping or that like to stay really strict and maybe they have extremely hard classes that they have to study for, just know that training extremely hard can cause some acute decreases in cognition. So basically, what that means is like if you train really hard and then you have to go take an exam, you're probably going to do worse than if you didn't. And that is probably obvious. Most of you can probably understand that. But some strategies that you may want to utilize when you're studying or when you have an exam is to study in the morning after you get up, maybe with a meal or without a meal, maybe with coffee, maybe without coffee, and then go train after studying and make sure that first part before training is the most productive part of the day, and anything you do after training is not going to be as significant. So then if you have an exam that's maybe late in the day, like 5 p.m., it might be a good thing to do to just skip that day of training. And so you can keep your cognition high and then train the next day and alter your split a little bit.
yeah, that's very true. That's why I try to encourage people like 1 week is not going to be make or break. One thing though, a lot of people don't necessarily train hard enough to necessarily need a deload week.
Yeah.
I think people very often unintentionally take deload weeks, so I try not to plan them.
Hmm.
A lot of people I get sick, go on vacation. Like mainly with the
Hmm.
summer coming, I'd rather them use their deload while they're on vacation than the
Yeah.
week of exams. So
Yeah.
that's a personal preference as well. Like a lot of these people have a vacation in a month, so
Hmm.
um, yeah, but like you said, like they're not going to lose progress if in 1 week, mainly with my lifestyle people. So I'd rather them continue to do as much as they can as normal and then
Yeah.
make small adjustments to make them feel more mentally like safe in their own habits. So,
Absolutely.
get a walk, get their steps up. I'd rather them increase their steps and if they need to take an extra rest day. So
Yeah, no, that's good. And your point on deloading, absolutely right there. Most people are not training hard enough to deload. And for those wondering if they are, you will know if you need to deload. You are going
Oh
to
my
feel like crap. The workout, every single time you go in, you're going to be like, I do not want to leg press this weight. I am going to die doing it. That's kind of what it feels like the week before a deload. Maybe you're regressing in weights for multiple sessions in a row despite giving your full best effort. Maybe you are unbelievably tired outside, inside the gym, your joints are hurting, whatever it may be. Those would probably be times to use deloads. Planned deloads, I think, can be useful if you have some event, like you said, a vacation coming up. The weeks leading up to those vacations, you better be working your ass off, training unbelievably hard so that deload is worth it.
God.
And trust me, it will feel good when you do that. But the week before Europe, when I'm training at the shop, I am going to be annihilating myself. So I am excited for that.
No, it'd be so good. But yeah, I just feel like they happen so much unintentionally and like so yeah. Although a lot of my clients do train really, really hard, yeah, like you said, it's really obvious when they do need them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I also think the more experienced you get, or the older your training age is, the more frequent you do have to take deloads. I think when you build more muscle mass, I'm sure you've probably noticed this over your training years. The more muscle mass you've gained, the more fatigue you can generate. And so you may have to reduce your number of training days or also just take deloads more frequently because you can annihilate yourself significantly more effectively than you were able to do your first day of training. And don't be confused with the first day that you ever stepped in the gym and decided to max squat and you were sore for 3 weeks. We mean like a regular training session. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are all good points. So you are coaching, you are posting content, and you are on prep. So how is balancing that for you? What's a normal day in the life look like?
Crazy. I this is the thing. This is why I love coaching though. I keep social media as like a hobby and I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy to do it and I like to keep it that way. And so if I get super, super stressed on prep, I know in the back of my mind that I could disappear off social media if I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I don't because I do enjoy posting, but it helps to know that like I'm helping other people without it relying entirely on content. So that's amazing. But like same with YouTube, like I haven't posted in like 4 weeks and I got like 5 DMs being like, when are you gonna post?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sometimes just you forget how hard prep can be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, but yeah, with coaching, I would consider myself working like a 9 to 5. Like I do actually sit down at my computer and write programs and do check-ins Monday,
Mm-hmm.
Friday, 9 to 5, which
Yeah.
is so crazy. But because I like it so much, it's more like I sit down and then I look up and I'm like, holy crap, like it is 4:30. Like when did
Yeah.
that happen? Which is it's so amazing. So usually I get up. I try to get up like when my boyfriend gets up pretty early in the morning, but
Mm-hmm.
I have my first meal right before I start working. And then at the moment I'm not doing fasted cardio. I usually do a post workout. So I usually will grind as much as possible and then I'll take a small break, eat lunch, and then right use the first half as all check-ins and then the second half is all new programming slash like sometimes I'll add like content, like working, like video editing, things like
Yeah.
that. And then I usually go and train at like 5 p.m. and then do my cardio and then yeah. But
Yeah. That seems pretty effective.
it's pretty good. Like I've been liking the structure and I think like with prep as well, I don't really want to go and like go off and do a bunch of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously a lot of my schedule allows me to travel and things like that. So I do have weeks that, I go to do photo shoots and things like that. So I know far and ahead when those are. And so it allows me to like really take advantage of these restful weeks, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and really, be there for my clients. But so usually it's like Monday to Friday. I have all of my check-ins and things like that. I have new clients start on Monday. And so that way I've been very intentional about using my Saturday, Sunday for me. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
it's really easy to, as a coach, feel like you have to give all of yourself to be able to be a good coach. And that's something I've learned with Hustle Harder is that's not really the case. Like you can be a good coach and still like take Saturday, Sunday. And
Yeah.
so like it took a really long time for me to be able to be okay with like not doing check-ins and not working on Saturday, Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I've been prepping, like I can't. Like, I
Yeah.
can't work 7 days like I was. I was working literally every single
Wow.
day. And, so now I've gotten better with just my time management and being like, "Okay, you've gotta take time to mentally rest, mainly on prep." And so I think, yeah, just having those expectations that, like, Saturday, Sunday are days that, like, I mean, I've gotta meal prep and I gotta take, like, at least a day off, you know?
Mhm.
So usually I write new programming one day on the weekend, so I take, like, one day off a week.
Yeah.
So usually my Saturdays are the days that, like, I try to, like, make it my rest day and just chill.
That's a lot of working. So,
Yeah,
especially
normal
especially on
people,
prep,
yeah,
not
because, like,
9 to
normal
5.
people, yeah, yeah, it is what it is. Normal people do it, so,
Yeah, you're right.
I do one YouTube, I'm posting a couple TikToks a day, I post an IG post every single day,
Mhm.
train 5 days a week, do cardio 6 days a week. Yeah, but I'm very, like, I like it this way. I think if
Yeah.
I were to sit idle too much, I would get very bored.
Right.
So, it's an interesting life for sure.
Yeah, so if you're working that much, I guess, like, basically sitting at a computer is effectively your job besides training and recording content or whatever. How do you or what strategies do you implement to make sure you're getting your steps in when you have a lot of work to do or you're working for a long duration of time?
Yeah, I have a walking desk at home, not
Okay.
when I'm visiting, like, family and things like that, but I do have a
Yeah.
walking desk, which helps a ton.
Yeah.
It is hard, I won't lie. If I don't schedule in steps, I will get 3,000, like, I won't move.
Yeah.
Um, it'll just be going up downstairs, but,
Mhm.
yeah, I have to be intentional about it, like, but think about it, like, the power of getting outside for a morning walk or a night walk,
Mhm.
it's so powerful, and I think a lot of people, like, they force themselves when they have remote jobs to, like, sit at home and taking, like, 5 minutes to go and, like, do a quick walk outside or something like that if you don't have, like, you're not able to, like, get a walking desk or something, even just getting outside is so powerful.
Yeah,
So, it's mental health, like, it is self-care to go on a walk. So,
absolutely.
when I'm at home, I do walk in the morning and the evening.
Mhm.
When I'm visiting my boyfriend, like, he's in an apartment building and we're off of, like, not an interstate, but, like, there's nowhere to go, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I do usually just, like, warm up on the treadmill for, like, 10, 20 minutes, like, scroll social media,
Mhm.
but it's intentional, and I think nothing's gonna happen by accident. You're not gonna be, like, an active person accidentally, mainly if you're
Yeah.
home or you work a 9 to 5 desk job.
Yeah.
Um, and so a lot of my clients, like, they warm up with steps, and then I get them to do, like, an evening walk,
Yeah.
um, because you're rushing to work, and then you get home at 5 PM, and then you're, like, trying to eat really quickly so you can go to the gym, and then at least when they're there, take some time to
Mhm.
just let your body warm up, and then, like, they deserve to have, like, a little bit of time to get outside for themselves. So, it's less like you need to get your steps in and more,
Yeah.
at least for my clients, that you deserve to have a little bit of time outside today.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's I literally have to plan it in my day or it won't happen.
Yeah, no, that those are some really good strategies, a lot of which I also like to implement. Personally, I walk to class and walk to the gym, and so it's not a problem for
You
me
feel
getting
that
steps.
way?
Yeah, but for people that do have the 9 to 5 job, some strategies that I do like to implement is get a really small water bottle. Yeah, it's kind of annoying because you're gonna have to get up and fill it up like 20 times, but those steps, getting up and filling it, one, takes you away from your work, which can be pretty helpful for getting a brain break and may actually make you more productive. Two, you're getting some extra steps in, and it can help you lose weight if that's your goal. Additionally, if you are an office worker or like a consultant or something and you spend a lot of the day on the phone, getting a pair of headphones and walking around in circles when you're on phone calls can definitely help you get your extra steps in. Sometimes for me, when it's raining outside and I don't want to walk outside, I will just walk back and forth in my apartment watching a video. And like you said, getting to the gym and walking 10, 20 minutes on the treadmill before your workout and maybe even after your workout can help for those people that really only have one block of time where they're able to do exercise. Doing some cardio before and after could be beneficial for both your mental health, your physical health, and also if your goal is to lose weight.
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
found, like, a lot of people struggle already with getting water in, so
Oh, yeah.
so having a small water bottle sometimes limits them, but definitely true. Like, have a little marker of how many bottles you need to go get for the day.
Yeah.
Be like, "I need to have, like, 6 of these."
Yeah.
Um, for sure. I feel like does help a lot, but steps for me actually is the hardest part.
Mhm.
And mainly when, like, I'm not doing client stuff, I'm writing new programs or I'm writing, and
Yeah.
editing YouTube videos, like a lot of it is sitting. And so for me, like buying a walking desk was a pretty great investment for me, but
Yeah.
not everybody obviously has that um, luxury. So I definitely like, I don't know. It's good
Yeah.
to go outside. And now that it's getting warm, it's going to be a lot easier.
Oh,
When it
for
was
sure.
cold, no one wants to go outside.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be easier to do like evening and morning walks now that it's warmer. But I
Mhm.
found that in the winter, we all struggled because no
Oh,
one
it
wants to go
sucks.
outside.
That's why we bulk in the winter.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Less
God. For
steps.
sure.
That's the
For
move.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I found it's going to be a lot easier for my clients now that they want to be outside.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I remember last year when I had classes like all day because it was like peak school for me in my spring third year. During my cut, I was getting like 18,000 steps a day and I was grinding like a bunch of different schoolwork. So my caloric expenditure was so high. I could eat so much. It was nice. But at the same time, doing that many steps is fatiguing. So I think, what do you recommend for a lot of your clients? What step range number are you looking for?
Like 8K. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a good. I think you did something about that a lot while ago. Actually, I saw your video like a couple
Yeah.
months ago where you said
8K
like
is like the
research
minimum in the
8K,
meta-analysis.
and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, valid. It kind of depends. I do actually give like a higher range for people who are already very active because I find that like when they're at work, they'll get like 15K, and then when they're
Yeah.
home, they get like 1,000. Then when
Yeah.
they're off, and so sometimes giving like a higher goal makes it so they're more consistent, mainly when it's
Mhm.
weight loss, because I can't like keep on tabs of their work schedule all the time. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I feel like 8K is a really, really good
Mhm.
like average. Mine's 8K for my coach too.
Yeah.
Um, I used to say like around 10, but I found that like that extra two honestly stressed people out, and it
Mhm.
wasn't making a large like impact really between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
Um, so I'd rather them do 8 if it makes it a little bit more casual for them than
Mhm.
stress about out like about that last
Yeah.
10.
And just so people know, if they are trying to get 8 steps or 8K steps in for their health, it is kind of important to consider I guess, like the number of different walking bouts you have in a single day. It's probably not going to be ideal if you just walk all 8,000 steps at once and then lay in bed the entire rest of the day. One, that's going to probably decrease your non exercise activity thermogenesis or your NEAT, which can decrease the number of calories you're burning because you could be really tired and then fidget less or whatever during the day. And I notice that that happens for me. If I have an extremely hard workout session, I lay in bed the rest of the day, I am probably going to gain weight the following day and probably have a lower NEAT. Obviously, it's impossible to actually tell unless you're having your NEAT measured in a lab, but in general, it's probably better to spread your steps out throughout the day if you can. If not, it's not a huge deal. It's not going to make or break your fat loss period. Obviously, just do what you can. So if you can only walk twice a day, 4,000 steps each time, that's fine. But if you have the ability to walk more and maybe walk to fill up your water bottle or whatever it may be, it's probably going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So I think that's a pretty good time to end the episode here. So I want to thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube as it helps us grow. And I would really hope that we can grow this podcast pretty well. And if you have any guests that you would like to have on this podcast, please let me know in the comments below. And I'd be happy to reach out to them to get them going.
Amazing.